Hi everyone, my name's Katie, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about some of my favourite makeup products from 2019 and yeah, I'm doing it late, I don't care. But like, I am still a makeup channel, I have to do a 2018 makeups favourite. Like, even if I do it in 2020, I have to do a yearly makeup favourites thing. I'm going to do one like Mahusa video where I rank all of the foundations that I've tried in 2018, and there is over 30. I tried a goddamn lot of foundation in 2018, so that's going to be one big ass beastly video that will probably be up in the middle of February, just because I'm retrying all of the foundations and filming clips of me applying them and close-ups on my skin and stuff. So the video is going to be a little while longer, I'm afraid, but I'm going to do 5 different videos. Hopefully they should all go up one after the other over 5 days, just of different categories of makeup. So today we're going to be starting with my favourite concealers of 2018 and my favourite setting powders of 2018. So we're gonna start with concealers. There's too damn many. Like, I just tried so many good concealers, and like there's some that I'm not even gonna mention that I really liked because there's just too damn many. In fact, I've got a top 5 and then I've got 4 honourable mentions, so that's already 9 concealers, and that's too much to put in a concealer favourite. So I realised that that's way too much, but genuinely all of these are really good and I've used all of these consistently since I bought them. That's just the way it goes sometimes. I do actually have quite a lot of high-end concealers this year, which I'm normally more of a drugstore person, but I've just brought a lot of high-end concealers this year. I don't know, that's just kind of been a thing I've been doing. Right, so I'll talk about the 4 honourable mentions first. So these just didn't quite make the top spot, but I really like them. Talk about the one that I've most recently tried. I tried this one in my December's first impressions, so I'm basing this exclusively on things that I tried in 2018. I'll count it if it was like Christmas time last year, like 5 days before the year ended, but it's going to be things that I've exclusively used for the first time in 2018. So this one was a late one in the year, but this is the Revolution Fast Base Concealer in C1. Looks like this. So this is the last Revolution concealer that I've tried, and I might as well just mention this now because it's also my honourable mentions. I went for the Revolution Super Size Conceal and Define in the shade C1 as well. So I might as well just talk about both of these together. Now, I prefer the Conceal and Define one ever so slightly, just because I feel like it's a tiny bit better coverage. Like, there's really not much in it at all. It's just like a tiny bit more coverage. And I used the Conceal and Define for the first time in, like, when did it even first come out? Like January? I think I used it like in February or March. I think it was March actually that I used it for the first time, and I had obviously the little one back then, and I swear to God I used that within like a couple weeks and it was gone. There was like barely any product in that damn tube, and I remember liking it at the time, but obviously because I ran out of it so fast I just kind of forgot about it and didn't really think much about that concealer. I just kind of moved on to other things. But then obviously I picked up a supersized one pretty recently and I just discovered how much I loved it again. I use it like all over, like on a no foundation day I used it all over my face, and I just looked at it and I was like, this is like really good coverage, like this is pretty damn good. So this is definitely one of those things that got a lot of hype on YouTube, but I honestly think that it is kind of worth it because it's a pretty good concealer, and I mean it's so inexpensive, so I would say give it a try. The Fast Base Concealer, like, I just feel like they're very similar, to be honest. It's still really good coverage, like it's definitely a really good coverage concealer. I just feel like it's ever so slightly less than the Conceal and Define. This one just applies really smoothly. I personally quite like the twisty up thing because you can just kind of swipe it on. I just find that quite convenient. I know a lot of people don't like these sorts of applicators. I don't know if there's a hygiene thing with it, but I've never been the most hygienic person when it comes to makeup anyway. The colours of these are actually perfect for me. Like the Conceal and Define one is actually like the exact same colour as my skin, which is hard to find. I would just recommend both of these, definitely. Another honourable mention, It Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Full Coverage Anti-Aging Waterproof Concealer. Mine's in the shade Light Brackets Ultra Fair. This one here, it is a very pale shade, which is fantastic. I like it. It's a little bit oily in consistency, like, which is fine, like that's great, especially if you've got dry skin. My skin's more like normal combo. I like it. It's got pretty good coverage. I don't know why I was expecting like a little bit more from it just because I know how hyped up this is. but I still really like it regardless. I thought I'd throw it in there because I have used it. I do like it. It's pretty good coverage. Just a bit pricey though. Another cheap one though, the Collection Lasting Perfection in the shade Extra Fair. So I have obviously tried this concealer before this year, but I never got along with the colour of the shade Fair, I think is what it was before. It was just so orangey and it oxidised so badly. But they brought out the shade Extra Fair Zero for the first time this year, and obviously I tried that back in, I think it was like March, again, pretty early in the year. And it's just a really good concealer. Obviously it is a bit of a cult classic, but you know, as soon as they brought out that shade Fair, I was like, yes. Obviously it's still not a great shade range, there's definitely not a lot of options for deeper skinned people, which is a shame, definitely. Like, it's weird that they prioritise making a paler shade over making deeper shades, like, because I feel like paler people are more of an anomaly than like the whole range of people with deep skin. But this, again, it's got really good coverage, really inexpensive, and blends out really nicely. I just really like it. It's great. However, we're going to talk about our top 5. So these ones are just ever so slightly better than those honourable mentions. So again, all of these concealers are just great, really. So in no particular order, we'll start with the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in Light 1 Chantilly, which is the one that comes in a lovely little pot. First of all, the colour, again, very good colour match for my pale, warm-toned skin. The thing that I like about this concealer is it glides on like a dream. It's so smooth, it's just so weightless. It's just like, I normally use like a concealer brush with it and you just kind of like paint it on. It's just like painting air in your face. It's so lightweight, but then it's also just got really good coverage. Sits on the skin beautifully. I feel like I'm going to repeat myself a lot with my descriptions of concealers because I don't know a lot of terminology. It's just good. It's good. It's expensive. Like that. It's a lot of money, like definitely, but I'm spending more money now than I would have used to. Obviously, like, you know, I turned 21 this year. And in the UK, when you turn 21, your pay goes up. So I was on like £5 something an hour before, and then when I turned 21, it went up to like £7.30 something, which, I mean, it doesn't, like, at first you think that's not much of a difference, and then you really start noticing when you're getting your pay slips in that it's actually going up by like quite a few £100s. I think I also did work more hours this year, but I've definitely had like more kind of like disposable income to spend on makeup and stuff, so that's why I have kind of ventured into some more high-end products, which I'm probably going to continue to do next year as well. The next concealer, this is also a high-end one. It's a little bit cheaper than the NARS one, but I mean, it's still, I think it's about 18 quid actually. So this is from MAC. This is the Pro Longwear Concealer. Mine is in the shade NC15, which I think is the lightest warm toned shade you can get. It's a pretty good match. I feel like it's a tiny bit dark for me, but like once it's blended in, it kind of works. I can definitely get away with the colour. That is what it looks like here. Obviously this is one that you kind of squeeze out and then put whatever amount on you like. I know some people don't like that, they just want to dope it. I don't really mind. I mean, I feel like you can kind of control the amount a bit better this way, but I don't know. Again, I'm just gonna keep saying the same things because I don't know how else to describe it, but like it's good coverage, it blends out really nicely. This one is a little bit more like oily. It's not super oily, but it's a little bit more oily. It just blends like a dream and it's just good coverage. I feel like I'm just gonna say the same damn thing about all of these. So another one, the Tarte Creaseless Concealer, which I tried a couple months back, looks like this. I think this is like a remake of one of the other concealers. I think it's like the Marajuka, I don't know. I think there's like a revamp of that or something, and they've just kind of renamed it to the Creaseless Concealer. But mine's in the shade Porcelain Sand. Again, very warm toned, pretty good shade for me. Obviously I have tried the Shape Tape before and I really like that. I tried that one last year. I wouldn't say that this is better or worse. I think that they're pretty on par, to be honest. So if you're kind of worried about like, oh, I don't know if I want to try this because what if it's not as good as the Shape Tape, I'd say try it. I think that they're pretty on par, to be honest. It's just got like amazing coverage. Like when I first tried this, my first impressions, I was like, ooh, have I found my new favourite concealer? This is some fantastic coverage, definitely. You've not got that massive doe fit that you get with the Shape Tape though, which is a shame, but it still works. Again, a bit pricey, definitely, but I like it. It's worth it. Just, it's good, okay? Now this one's kind of like on the cusp of high-end and drugstore. I think it's about 15 pounds, I'm not sure, I'll have to check that. But this is the Nabla Close Up Stay Full Smooth Concealer, and mine is in shade Porcelain. This is a very pale shade. It's like the undertone's quite neutral, so I feel like a lot of people could probably get away with this sort of undertone. Like, since I got this, like, recently, I feel like I've almost used this up, actually, because when I brought it, I, like, just kept using it because it was so damn good. And it was only, like, I can't remember, when did I try this? It wasn't long ago, like, it was about 2 months, I think. I'm lying, actually. It was in November. So, yeah, I guess that is 2 months, actually. Yeah, so I tried this in November, so a late find in the year. I'm surprised, like, not more people talk about this. You can get it off Beauty Bay, obviously, and I think I saw people mention it in videos, but I never really felt like I saw, like, a load of praise for it. But I think it's really good coverage. It smells like coconut as well. It smells really nice. It's beautiful, beautiful. Same as what I said about the rest of them. Really like it. And we'll finish off with a drugstore option. All of the writing has faded off this, so who knows what it is. But this is the Barry All Night Long Fog Coverage Concealer. This one I think has almost run out as well. Yeah, there's definitely not a lot left in this. Mine's in the shade Milk, and it is a very fair. I actually feel like it's a tiny bit lighter than my skin, which is fantastic. I can actually sort of brighten with it. But this is definitely like a really underrated concealer. I've not seen like a lot of hype for this one, but I personally thought it was really good. I used it in my half high-end, half drugstore dupes video recently. Really inexpensive, really good coverage. Shade works amazingly for me. Definitely looks smooth. Like when my in that video that I just mentioned, I pitted it against the Kat Von D one, and I just felt like this one looked so much more like smoother and less crepey than the Kat Von D one, which I mean the Kat Von D one is one that I did try this year. Oh yeah, I just remembered that I was going to do like rejects in this video as well. We'll get on to that just in a second. Yeah, I just felt like this one looked way like smoother and less like kind of heavy under the eyes, but then it still had really good coverage. So I feel like all of these concealers, like they're good coverage but without looking like really heavy or really crepey under the eyes. So that, my friend, is all of the concealers I loved this year. And I know it was a lot, but I just liked a lot of concealers, you know. I just had a really good year in terms of concealers. And like there's still some more in my drawers that I like the EX1, Maybelline Fit Me, Maybelline Under Eye eraser thing, the Obsession conceal wand, some of the NYX concealers, the Gosh concealer. Like I'm looking at them and honestly they're pretty good too. So yeah, there's been a fantastic year in terms of concealers. I did want to kind of mention some rejects whilst I did these videos. So I guess I'll mention 3 that I don't hate these by any means, but I just had like a few sort of issues with them. So as I was saying about the Kat Von D Lock-It Cream Concealer, like it has got good coverage and the shade is really light, which is great, so I can kind of use it to highlight, but I just feel like it looks a little bit crepey and a little bit like heavy and cakey, which, as I said, like all the other concealers that I mentioned in my favourites, I just feel like they had that same coverage but they just didn't look crepey. This I feel looks a bit crepey. Like it's not terrible, like I've still used it a few times throughout the year and stuff, but I don't know, I definitely don't think I'd repurchase this. The Belle Hypoallergenic Concealer. Now I really loved the brand Belle Hypoallergenic this year. That will be mentioned a few times throughout my favourites. But I don't know, this concealer was just a bit meh. Like it wasn't terrible, but it didn't really do much for me. The shade is quite pale, but I feel like it definitely oxidized once I'd kind of put it on my face and blended it in. I feel like it started to oxidize. So I mean it's not terrible, it's just very average. Don't know. I want to try it out a little bit more, but I don't know if I'm going to keep it in my collection much longer. Like when I next do a declutter, it might go. Again, don't hate this, but the H&M Cover Up Concealer in Alabaster. First of all, another really good pale shade, and you know what, I don't dislike this at all really. I don't even know why I'm mentioning it as a reject. It's just not as good coverage as some of the other concealers that I've found. That's my one issue. I still think it's got a nice finish, and if I want something more lightweight, it works, but it's just not got quite the level of coverage that I look for often. Let's stop talking about concealers and move on to powders. Fucking powders. Powders are the bane of my existence. Powders is the thing that in the year 2019 I'm going to find some good powders that work for my pale skin. Some ones that aren't translucent, although I do still like translucent powders, but I want to find some like coloured ones that are pale enough for me that don't make me orange. Now most of the powders that I really liked this year I don't have on me because powders is by far my fastest use product. I go through them incredibly fast. I don't know if it's just that I put way too much on my face, which I probably do, but I'm one of those people that's really like anal about my face being set. Like it's got to be set. I can't have any like moisture or tackiness going on in this face. It's got to be set. Even though I don't have particularly oily skin, I still feel like I need to be set. I'll just mention one that I bought this year and I used this year, but I technically didn't try it for the first time this year, and that was the NYX translucent powder. I just need to get my laptop and find out what it's actually called. I have a NYX HD finishing powder in translucent, and just to start off with, I tend to gravitate more towards pressed powders. I just find them more convenient to use. But I mean, I had used that like ages ago, like years ago when I was first started getting into makeup, but then I bought it again this year and I did really like that one. It sets your face, not cakey, not heavy. Really nice powder. I'm definitely going to repurchase that one at some point this year. So I've only really got 2 actual like favourite powders, but before I get into those, I'll just talk about some ones that I liked, but they're just too dark for me, which is such a shame. First of all, these Kiko powders. So I've got the Radiant Fusion powder in 01, which looks like this. Too dark for me, but a good powder. And 04, the Matte Fusion pressed powder, which looks like that. I don't even know if that's a lighter shade. I mean, it's 04. These are pretty good. Again, I can't really use them unless I've got a really pale base. Also from Belle Hypoallergenic, I've got their matte powder here in the shade 0, I don't know, 2, I think. Which again is a bit dark for me. If I'm using like my NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop in the shade Pale, which is a bit too pale for me, it's actually like, it works when I use this to set it, but if I've got something on that's, you know, like my skin colour or a little bit off my skin colour, it doesn't really work. But if I'm using it with the NYX Can't Stop, great, love the formula. This powder is amazing. This is the MAC Mineralized Skin Finished Natural in the shade Light. This is like a great formula of powder. Flawless finish, no cake face, but it looks too dark on me. Ugh. Why does this happen? I do want to try the MAC Powder Foundation. They have like an NC10 shade, which I feel like could work because my foundation shade's NC10, but I'm so skeptical, but I do want to try it anyway. This cheap powder that I got off of Amazon, it says B.O.B. loose powder. I think the seller is Jane Dream. It's just a really cheap loose powder that I got off of Amazon. It has a really nice finish, like it looks really flawless. But again, it's just a little bit off the colour. So some powders that I actually could get to work for my skin tone that I definitely will repurchase. So first of all, I've got some Tattered Remains of the Belle Hypoallergenic Fixing Matte Powder. This is the translucent one. This is a great powder. Obviously it's translucent, so it's gonna work for my skin because it's translucent, and it's one of those translucent powders that actually is translucent. It doesn't like make you white. So I think potentially a lot of skin tones should be able to use this. When I got it, it was broken, and I managed to use quite a bit of it, but then it just kept getting more and more broken. But I will repurchase this and hope that it doesn't arrive broken again, but would recommend this. Pretty damn cheap as well. Nice finish, no cake face, doesn't distort the colour of your base. So yeah, get this, good. I think I would repurchase the Maybelline Matte Maker one. This is in Classic Ivory. I feel like the colour, it's just about right. It's so close to being dark, but I think it just manages it. Definitely very yellow toned as well, which is great for my warm toned skin. I've just got so like little left in there that it's just impossible to kind of get your brush into it. Maybe your under eyes you can set with it, but I think I would buy this again, you know. I remember quite liking it. Obviously, I went through it fast. It's just so hard because you forget things because you use them so fast. But I think I would buy this again, definitely. One that I have not got on me, the Revlon Colour Stay pressed powder, the shade Translucent. And this is a weird one because you could not get this on Boots or on Superdrug on the website. It's just not on there. The powder's there, just not in the shade Translucent. Like they have a light medium, and then like a medium dark, I think. And the light one is definitely, I tried the light one, nah, that was orange, The translucent one though, so pale, like pale, but it's not really translucent though. It's weird. It's such a good shade for me though. Now I see this every time I go into my like local Boots store. It's there. So it's in store, but for some reason it's not online. I don't know if they will eventually bring it online. You can get it on Amazon as well, but it's like a little bit more expensive than what it would be, because I think it's about 12 quid in Boots. And I think it's on Amazon for like about, I don't know, maybe like 16 or something, so it's not that much more. I want to buy that powder again at some point, and if I buy it and like I fall in love with it, then I would like just rebuy it on Amazon regularly, because I'm one of those people that doesn't like to leave the house often. But from my memory of it, I really liked it. The colour was amazing, and it just did exactly what I want a pressed powder to do. Set my face, not make me look like a cake, just give me a nice flawless finish. That's just what I want. That's what I want. From my memory, the Revlon Colour Stay in Translucent did that. We'll pick that up again this year, relatively soon. And I'm hoping that my memory of it is correct. I'm going to stock up to the high heavens on it. I'm going to show you. I'm really sad. I have like a thing on my computer where I plan out all the makeup that I'm going to buy, what month I'm going to buy it in. It just helps me plan like videos and stuff, because obviously I do fast impressions every month. So I'm just going to show you some of the ones that I'm planning on picking up this year. I'm not going to show you, I'm going to tell you. Next one I want to pick up is the Body Shop All-in-One Face Base. I like swatched this shade. On here it's telling me it's 02. Like I looked at it in store and it looked like it could potentially be light enough for me. But it is like a tinted one as well. That's just what I want. Like I want kind of a tinted powder that's just not too dark for me. Also the Milani Conceal and Perfect Shine Proof powder. I saw like a swatch online today. It looked like it would be pale enough. I think it's one of those things I'm just going to have to buy it and see. Number 7 Perfect Light Pressed Powder in Translucent. Online it looks pretty pale. I guess we'll have to see with that one. Again, I want to pick up the MAC Powder Foundation in NC10. I'm going to re-pick up the NYX one. Also the e.l.f. Bare Finishing Powder. I swatched this in a Superdrug recently, and it looked pretty light. Also the NARS Soft Velvet Pressed Powder in Snow. I think the Flesh one might be too dark, so I'm just going to go with the Snow one. Might as well mention some concealers that I want to purchase this year. So the next one I think I'm going to try out is the Jouer Essential High Coverage Concealer. Also want to try out the new Sleek one. I want to try out the Too Faced Born This Way Concealer. I want to try out B, Superdrug's brand B. They brought out a concealer recently. I want to try that one. Going to repurchase the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. The Topshop one I want to try. The L'Oreal's brought out a new one. It's on Boots at the moment. The Morvan Concealer. I want to try that one out. I also want to try out the really cheap MUA one, because I've actually heard that that's pretty good for the price. And also the Nip and Fab concealer that came out recently. So there's definitely a lot of like concealers that I wanted to try this year, as well as powders. I've got to film 4 more of these videos and I've already talked so much in this one. I've got really sore throat at the moment, so I don't know how I'm going to do this. So anyway, that is my wrap up of concealers and powders this year. I'll see you for my next video, in which I will be talking about bronzers and highlighters. Goodbye.